My friends, it is I, Jaden Kindle, back once again to guide you through the wastelands. Now, the last video was a heavy video. It dealt with depression. But there was a huge response to it, and so I was asked to do another video. So, on Twitter, I decided to let you, my friends, decide which topic of depression you wanted me to choose. And a huge amount of you chose symptoms. Now, the symptoms that I'm going to cover a little bit are not your typical symptoms. They're not what you see on the internet the most. People are always talk about sadness when it comes to depression. They're always talk about a lack of appetite and insomnia. Well, my friends, those may be three of the most common ones, but there are other symptoms that can be placed under depression. It can be placed under other groups as well. So if you do have any of these, you should talk to a professional. But hopefully, some of what I will be telling you will help you understand depression a little more, even if you yourself are not suffering from it. Maybe you know somebody with these other symptoms, and maybe you can talk to them about it and see what happens. So, without further ado, let's jump in. So, the first one is apathy. Now, you can put apathy under sadness, but it's not always about sadness. Apathy can just be a lack of caring. Like, you just don't care one way or the other. You may still get up, go grocery shopping, do things that you normally do, but you don't care if you do them or not. You could just get up and not do anything. You also don't care if you die. Now, granted, that's a more extreme version of apathy, but people with apathy under depression do experience that. Not all of them, but some do. So, the next one, let's see, is irritability. Now, irritability, obviously, you can get annoyed or angry with something that's going on around you. You have a short fuse. When you're like in a store and somebody bumps into you with a cart, you could get very angry, or waiting at a red light. Now, again, being irritable doesn't mean you're depressed. It can be a sign of depression, but it doesn't have to be. And under irritability, or apart from irritability, depending on who you ask, is anger. Now, anger I talked about in depth on my Twitter, but anger is you just blow up at everything. You wake up angry, you go to bed angry. Uh, the least little thing can make you angry, which puts it under irritability as well. But anger can make you a very destructive person, mentally and physically. You can be abusive under this. Not all a person that suffers from anger isn't always abusive, but they can be. There's a lot of self-harm that can go on in anger. Uh, Harming others is again abusive. It's not beyond the realms of somebody suffering from anger. Now, anger can be part of other forms of mental illnesses, or it can just be you're a very angry person. You don't have to be depressed to be angry, and you don't have to be angry to be depressed, obviously. So, but if you know somebody that is very angry but also has moments of really sadness or self-loathing, talk to them about it. If they get angry with you, that's up, that's your call on how you want to deal with that. Uh, if you know somebody who's prone to anger when they get depressed, if you know their triggers, be careful. As with irritability, sometimes it's the littlest thing that can set them off. So if you're counseling somebody with anger-related depression, or you know somebody that gets angry when they're depressed, be careful. Put yourself first, them second. I know that sounds bad, but you have to watch out for you because they could say or do things that will cause harm. Uh, the next one is self-harm, which that can go under deep sadness or anger, sometimes apathy, but that's with apathy, from my experience, you don't really go out of your way to harm yourself. It just so happens that if you do get cut or something, you don't care. You might go, I just cut myself. But whatever. But self-harm, obviously there's telltale signs, scars, especially on the wrists. But it's not a symptom that's always talked about. It's asked. People might ask you if you're hurting yourself, and self-harmers don't always tell you that they're hurting themselves. They won't admit it, so you have to look out for those telltale signs. And again, it can be because you're sad and you want to feel something, or because you're angry and you just want to hurt something, and that's something being yourself. People say punch a pillow. If you're angry and you want to hit something, punch a pillow. It might not always work, but again, with like anger, just if you're dealing with somebody that is a self-harmer, be careful. You never know what you're going to, never know what you say could make them feel pain inside, and then they may not show it in their faces, but they'll show it on their bodies later. So just watch out for that one. The next one. Sorry, my notes are down here. Lack of concentration. Gee. Because that kind of fits me, considering I am rambling a little bit, but that's okay. Hopefully you're getting something from this. Lack of concentration. You have a hard time concentrating on anything. Now, some people might not say it falls under depression, but if you look it up, it does. People who have this find it hard to concentrate on even the simplest tasks. Again, it might not be related to depression. It could be because of something else. However, somebody may keep losing an item. They may place an item down and then 10 minutes later have no clue as to where they put it. They may not be able to follow the simplest of instructions. They may keep forgetting stuff, like they go out shopping and even with the list, they forget half the stuff that's on the list. So, if you're dealing with somebody that has lack of concentration, if they forget something, remind them, but remind them in a way that's not belittling them, because they could end up being irritable at you, or they could just take it upon themselves and get really depressed, like they're really torn up about forgetting an item. If they have if their family has a history of forgetfulness or other forms of illnesses like Alzheimer's, then yeah, really pay attention to how you remind them that they forgot something. Okay, now, mania. This one I'm good at. I shouldn't say good, but this one I know. Mania can be short bursts of energy, can be long sustained periods of energy. Elation. Basically, you're high as a kite without taking any drugs to do it. Or you just have a huge abundance of energy and you don't know why. Or then, if you've been dealing with mania for a while, you know that it's part of your brain patterns. But some people will say mania is completely different to depression. Again, it can be in its own category. It could be manic depressive, which has periods of high with periods of low, various degrees of extreme in either way. Uh, you could have multiple periods of mania per day. Uh, Generally, people are looking for long sustained periods of mania, not multiple times a day, but for like a day, 2 days, 3 days a week. But again, with mania, you can have a lack of concentration, obviously, because your mind is so high that you're not really focusing on anything, or you could be totally focused and get a job done and just be so focused on that job that you don't care about anything else. Uh, so, yeah, mania. It's could be fun for people who are watching it because you be like dancing in the streets, but for yourself, after you're aware that it's happening and you don't know how to stop it, it's not so fun. So if you know somebody that suffers from mania, be there for when the mania dies, because once that mania stops, they're going to get low. They might not get down at the bottom of black pit low, but they're going to have a low in most cases. Some people just return to what they consider normal, but yeah, if you know somebody with mania, pay attention to that after mania effect. And let's see, the last one I'm going to discuss. Uh, I know this has been a shorter video, and I'm sorry for that. I picked the ones that people don't pay attention to that much, and if I missed any, I apologize. Go to a doctor if you think you have any of the ones I've mentioned for long periods of time, sustainable amounts of time, because that's what doctors generally look for. Or counselors, go to a counselor first if you feel like it. If you feel it's just a thing you need to talk out with somebody, or go see a doctor, because I am a big proponent of going to see professionals with dealing with mental illnesses. Okay, so the last one is opposite of one of the normal, quote unquote, normal symptoms. The last one is overabundance of eating. Now, you'll probably get asked, if you go see a professional, they might say, have you had a lack of appetite? Well, if you're pigging out, you're not going to say you've had a lack of appetite. If they phrase it, has your eating changed? Then yes. Tell them that you are eating more and you can't seem to stop. Now, obviously, this type of eating disorder isn't always related to depression. Depression can actually come about because of this, or it can be there because of depression. Uh, so, go see a professional as soon as you notice this, or if you're noticing a friend that just can't seem to stop eating, talk to them and maybe help them get help, because obviously overeating can lead to a lot of problems, um, health problems, physical health problems especially. So my friends, I hope that this video helps you, and there will be a new poll up on Twitter depending on how this one goes. I'll probably put a poll up anyways because you're all my friends and you reacted so well to the first one that why not? If you find me helpful, then great for me. Yay. So I hope you all are well, my friends, and I'll see you on the next one. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I am not a professional. I do not have a degree in psychiatry or psychology, so that's why I advocate going to see a professional. I can hopefully help point you in the right direction, but we'll see. I hope you all are well, my friends, and have a glorious time in the wasteland as much as you can. Thank you, my friends. Bye bye.